Hello, we're getting close to Valentine's Day, so I thought I'd see how this stencil called Queen Anne's Lace would work as a greeting card. I just grabbed some yellows and a red and white to mix up some colors. I'm going to use this nice silver brush quill to lay out some color. The paper is handmade marbled paper, and I don't like the little white areas, so it's also super absorbent. So I'm adding some paint for two reasons: to cover the white spots, and then because the acrylic paint will make the paper less absorbent and make a better surface for the paint to sit on. So this is a 6 by 6 inch stencil, and I'm starting to pat some Titan buff through it with a makeup sponge. There are a lot of small holes here, so it's a good idea to take some time to make sure you're getting all the little areas covered with paint. You can even pull up a corner while you hold the stencil in place just to see how it's looking so far. Okay, I just want to get this neutral base color down. I don't have a plan for the video today, so this is just my regular process, unplanned. I just play and kind of see, what's going to work and what's not. The only idea that I'm starting with is to make something that might look good as a greeting card. So while that first piece dries, I have this ombre fade from red to orange and then yellow. It took less than a minute, and I'm going over it now a little bit to darken up some of the color. I just use washes, a little bit of water in my paint. Now I'm doing a little audition with the mask. Just want to see how the fade might look. It's a little tricky imagining how the colors are going to turn out. And I'm thinking now about stenciling a fade in the opposite order, so pat the yellow in the middle and start the ombre blend from yellow to red, moving out toward the edge. This is my first attempt at this, so we'll just see what happens. I'm sure there are expert stencilers watching that can do this really well. I'm already seeing on how I might do this differently the next time. So let's just see what happens. I'm trimming this one up with my scissors. Today's been like art supply Armageddon over here. The blade on my paper trimmer made a horrible tear instead of a cut when I tried to use it. And then when I went to set it aside, it landed on a loaded palette knife, which catapulted across the room and was flinging paint everywhere. So anyway, getting back to the project, I'm going to add some color over the tight and buff areas now. These designs are inspired by mid-century textile designs, but they also remind me a little bit of designs I saw as a kid in Pennsylvania Dutch country. Everyone had milk cans and antique items with floral designs stenciled or hand painted on them. With that in mind, I'm just going to get decorative and start filling in all these shapes with random colors and see what happens. Next, I'll do a little mark making. And would you believe that none of my white paint pens or gel pens are working? So I grabbed a bottle of paint with a fine liner tip on it to enhance the tiny petals all around the edges. And these are what reminded me of Queen Anne's lace. They're like a big white flower, but they're made up of millions of tiny white petals. So I've always seen a lot of them in the Midwest and on the East Coast growing up, and we used to put them in a vase with red food coloring, and after a few hours they would turn pink instead of white, so they would like soak up the red dye and just change color. It was kind of fun. So I'm just scribbling here. I'm not really staying in the lines. I'm not really making any particular shape, just some petal scribble shapes and not worrying about it. It's just for fun and relaxation. Those tiny petals look like little hearts to me, so I'm going to paint hearts on the second piece while the other one is drying. And I'm using one of these mini ultra brushes for the small work, and again, not looking for perfection. I'm just painting tiny heart shapes, and it does take a little bit of time since they're so small. So I'll get these done. Just work my way around till I get the whole thing covered. And back to the more neutral piece, I found a nice green paint pen that I'm using to enhance the stems. And I kind of like this gentle palette, so I'm going to try and stay with the more muted colors and not add anything that's too bright. And after I get these stems finished, I'm going to fussy cut around all those tiny petals. When I look at this one on a larger piece of white paper, I see that it could work as a wall piece, maybe in an 8x8 or 10x10 frame. I like seeing it with an inch or two of white on all sides. And it's also going to be a good fit for a greeting card. So I'll add some more detail here and maybe a bit more color. And I'm still thinking about how this could be a nice wall piece mounted on watercolor paper or matted professionally, and then put it in an espresso or black frame. So if you want to do something like this with yours, just make sure that you scan your original art before you frame it, and then you can use the scan to order cards with your art printed on them. I'm feeling like this one might be finished. I really like those little scribble petals. And it's funny how as I work on these, I'm getting ideas about other colors and techniques I could try. I'd suggest working on more than one at a time for that reason. I have a tendency to overwork things, and I think it's because I want to try everything, every color, every technique, every product, and that can lead to a mess. Sometimes it's a glorious mess, but sometimes it's just a straight up mess. So if you have the space, set up 3 or 5 of these so you can try a little bit of everything, but then keep it limited to maybe 1 color palette and 2 processes per piece. That's just a suggestion. This whitish paint is a golden product called Interference Red, and it dries clearer than this, but it has a really pretty shimmery effect. It's really subtle over the lighter areas, and then it gets showier when you mix it with a darker color, or you can just paint a layer of it over a dark color to get the same effect. Just adding some gentle stems here, and I've mixed some Interference Red with India Yellow Hue to add some dots. They'll have kind of a gold appearance when they dry, and I'm using a dotting tool. You can find these at any beauty supply place or on Amazon. It's just called dotting tool, and I think they're used for fingernail polish. And Daisy says she is not sorry for barking while I'm recording the video. So next I'm just going to finish up these dots, and I'll add some line work that connects the stems together, and then I'm going to cut this one out. Now for a little line work with pens. It looks like Daisy has chewed this one. You can use a ruler for this or just freehand it. So I have a 2mm tip on here, and I'm just going to draw some lines east to west, north to south, and then just keep going. I think if I frame this one, I'd have it matted and then put it in maybe a pink or a red frame. Just finishing up with these lines. I should probably try and fit a signature on here somewhere. But just have fun and relax. Doing things with your hands is a great way to just slow down and be present. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more, and as always, thank you for joining me. If you'd like to try one of these stencils for yourself or for a friend, you can find them at StencilGirlProducts.com and just type Rossiter in the search bar there, and all my designs will show up.